Drew, good to see you.
Howdy.
Can you talk about the play in which Blake scored the 51-yard touchdown? That was a work of art that should be hung in the Louvre. If you look at the all 22 from above, it looks like everybody does their job. Couldn't have been better executed from what I could tell. Your thoughts?
Yeah, it was it was blocked really well. We had him in a front. They were going to bring edge pressure again like they had done. They got me a series earlier on the tackle for loss, bringing the edge pressure, and then this time we caught them in the same thing, but we ran the power up inside, and so um, we got all our down blocks. Everybody's got a gap. Tight end, right tackle, guard. I mean, Cody ended up getting all the way, I think, to the safety. And then, of course, the B-back kicked out the overhang, and the guard pulled around purpose, but had a really good block. I don't think anybody touched Blake, honestly. So it was really executed, and we caught him in the right. We caught him in a defense that matched up well for the play, and the kids executed. So yeah, that was good. We were excited about that.
Well, the four blocks that really stood out to me was Purvis, pulling and just
Mm,
absolutely perfect. Could not have executed a better block on a good middle linebacker who was just about to try to fill that hole. And
right.
Pexa really was like a shot out of a cannon coming and going and getting that overhang guy, as you mentioned, and he really drove him back.
Yep.
And then Brandon Chapman worked his
Mm,
tail off to just stay in front of the Curly Ordonez kid, the weak side linebacker, who's really good and made a lot of plays on Saturday. And then, as you mentioned, Cody also. Those four blocks in
yeah.
particular stood out to me.
Yeah. It was every kid did their job really well right there. And it was good to see. We needed that one.
Last one for me for now. My friend Mike James from the Navy Football Radio Network and the Mid Report was breaking down the game, and he posted that one thing that stood out to him from that game was how much Cody Howard loves to block. Like he blocks like his life depends upon it. Do
Yeah.
you can you kind of talk about how much he puts into that job, and do you think that Coach Guillermo will make him an honorary member of the offensive line?
Yeah, Cody is a really good football player. Um, and we're a lot better when he is out there, because what we ask our tight ends to do, because he's athletic enough to be a threat in the passing game, but he's so physical and strong, and understands leverage, uh, understands pad level, understands hand placement. And then he's just tough as nails. I mean, he is a really physical, fast, violent football player. We he's obviously, he's had a lot of injuries over his career and had to miss time here and there. And we sure do miss him when he's not out there. So we kind of practice him a little bit differently now. We get enough, to keep him loose during the week and to keep him sharp, and then we turn him loose on Saturdays, and hopefully he can, be able to maintain good health the rest of the season, and because like I said, he makes a huge difference. If you go back and watch games last year, like for instance the Army game, he absolutely dominated those down blocks in that game, and then fit up on linebackers, and so he just makes such a huge difference in whatever we're doing, whether it's our gap schemes where he's blocking down, or whether he's loading a linebacker and leveraging, or whether he's on the perimeter. Uh, he makes a difference, blocking folks, and then obviously he had a big touchdown catch. So that's what we want in a tight end here as we move forward. That's that's the kind of guys we want to have.
Scott Wyckoff.
Coach, what are your goals? What do you want to get out of this bye week specifically?
Well, bye weeks, you're always wanting to get healthy while taking a step forward, and trying to kind of reset yourself, examine yourself, what you're doing. Um, what are some fundamentals we need to improve on? But also, it's a long season. And I think bye weeks are incredibly important at our place at the Naval Academy, just because Um, the guys have a lot going on besides football, and so just to be able to decompress, to hit the reset button, to let their bodies kind of, just get a little bit of a rest, it, it, while still being able to get ahead of the game on the next opponent. I think is it's good, and it's good to go into the bye week. We probably, it was a good time for a bye week. Um, hopefully we'll come out of this bye week as healthy as we've been all season. I think we got a chance to do that on both sides of the ball, and but at the same time, you don't want to lose your focus, and you want to stay sharp. And you want to get a little more recruiting done as a staff, things like that. You kind of, a lot of times you're chasing so many things in a bye week, you try to get caught back up. You try to get home a little earlier. You try to go watch a 13-year-old practice football, maybe go home and make sure the chores are getting done by those sons we have. Just you want to make sure your wife's, gets a little help. So you try to cover a little ground, and maybe get some things done you don't normally get to do.
Talking about resources, what kind of resource has Ivan been for you, and how important has he been with his work in Blake's development?
Ivan's been unbelievably important in just who he is as a person. First of all, the kids love him. He loves the Naval Academy. He has absolutely no ego. And our whole staff's kind of that way. I mean, everybody brings value and everybody brings good ideas, and I think we have a lot of fun together, and we respect each other, and it's just enjoyable. And I've learned so much from Ivan about the option game, and especially the under center stuff that we need to be able to do, that protects a lot of the other things that we do. And it's been so much fun for me to work together with him and everybody on staff to be able to blend those things together. But he has been an unbelievable resource for that. And then obviously the way he teaches those fundamentals from an option standpoint, he's the best there is in the country. And so that's been I love learning, and I've learned a lot. And and Ivan's just been a good friend. I mean, it's just been a good it's been a good blend. It really has, and he has been just phenomenal to be around.
Why do you think he connects so well with Blake?
Well, Ivan connects so well with most anyone. Um, he just is that. He's the kids gravitate towards him. He cares about people. He's got a fiery side too, but he watches after these young men. So he's a good football coach and even better person, and he understands this place. He understands our kids. Um, and the kids know that he loves them, and that's, if when a kid knows you care about him, it goes a long way.
Thanks.
Hmm.
Wyatt Kopelman.
Hey, Drew, what level of confidence did Blake in the offense show for a road win against Temple, and how do you build off it during the bye week now, going to Florida Atlantic next week?
Yeah, I mean, every time you go out there and you bounce back or you show resiliency, the ability to keep fighting, I think it strengthens you. And I certainly wish we would have been sharper in the first half. The first series was really good, and then we had three straight series where we just I probably could have called it better. We missed some things. We just didn't get in a rhythm, and we have to do a better job offensively of staying on the field. And our poor defense was out there the whole first half. I mean, it was crazy.
Hmm.
So we've got to do a better job playing complementary football. The second half, we look like pretty good offense. The second half, and the kids bounced back. We made some adjustments, but it wasn't a ton of things. It was just better execution. I probably was a little more patient, and we tried to grind it just a little bit more and pick our moments to be aggressive. And then we made 3 fourth downs. I mean, that's critical now when you make a 4th and 3. Blake hit Eli, that was a huge play. Probably you could argue that could be the biggest play in the game. I know the touchdown at the end was huge, but just to keep some momentum, and it was so critical to score that first possession of the second half. And so We made three of those. We had a good second drive for a touchdown. The third drive, we ended up kicking a field goal, but we made one fourth down there where Blake scrambled um, and kept us on the field. And then they the only really lost yardage play we had in the game was the one on Jackson there, and I probably got a little too cute there, but um, they brought that blitz off the edge and got us, and that was really the only other lost yardage play we had was when Blake they stripped the ball from him and the ball bounced back 6 yards, so we ended up having so we really did a good job of staying ahead of the sticks in the second half. Huge field goal right there. I mean, that kid's made some big kicks for us the last 2 weeks, the difference in the game. And then the fourth series, so we only had the ball 4 times in the second half, and we scored on each one. And obviously, that last drive was pretty, was pretty big. But when you make some fourth downs, you stay on the field, you see the confidence building, and then you got a quarterback who wants the ball in his hands in those situations. He's so used to being a playmaker now and being so comfortable, and his confidence is through the roof. And my confidence in him is through the roof. He went out there and made the plays that needed to be made, and so when you do that, when it's critical, when you have to get it done, the last 2 games, Air Force, we needed 2 first downs just to ice the game. Well, we got it, and we did it in different ways. We threw the ball a couple times, right? And kids made catches and throws, and then we go and we finish a drive on a 4th and 2, just running basic power and everybody fitting their block, and then to go execute the 2-point play. Those are moments that you kind of put in the bank and know, hey, we're very capable of doing some great things. And the confidence just keeps building. So now the road's gonna, obviously the back end of our schedule is a little, there's some really good teams, and we're going to find out a lot about ourselves in the next few weeks. And the Florida Atlantic is no different. They have brought in some good new coach, some athletes on defense. They're a good looking football team. So it doesn't get any easier. You got to go play well every week. And but I do believe in our players. I do believe in our players, and they keep showing me over and over again that I can trust them, and that they're going to make plays when they need to.
You mentioned the things that the team missed out on related to execution in the first half. What were some of the biggest things that stood out to you, whether it's ball security, perimeter blocking, efficiency on first down, that you think can take the next step as it goes into this next couple of games?
Well, the things that stalled us in the first half, we had the second drive, we took a shot on the first play to Alex down the sideline. And so we had a 2nd and 10 and we had a false start. So 2nd and 15 now. That we got to avoid we had 2 false starts, and that's, we definitely improved the penalty category, but we still got to eliminate all of those because it's really hard in 2nd and 15. It's just, that's a lot of ground to cover. And the third series, we started off with an explosion play with Eli Heinrich around the left end. And that's the series on 2nd down and 6. Blake is carrying the ball. He's gained 2 yards. The ball gets pulled out and it rolls back 6 yards. And so now we're in 3rd and 10. So a long yardage situation. Right. So we just, that little bit of bad luck there. It's much easier to call a play on 3rd and 4. You got more things available to you. And 3rd and 10, we didn't convert there. And then I felt like the third series, we had called a power with an RPO attached to it. And Blake probably should have kept the ball because we had that one blocked a lot like we had the touchdown play blocked. But we had tagged an RPO, kind of similar to the first touchdown Eli scored on against Air Force. I don't know if y'all remember the skinny slant. That was an RPO, and this was a similar deal. And Blake probably should have run the ball. Because that would have kept us on the field. He'd have gained some yards. He'd have got a first down. And so we didn't convert there. So we just had 3 straight series where we didn't convert. We had some mistakes, and I probably was a little impatient on some calls. The second half, we just converted. We stayed ahead of the chains, and we had a 4th and 3 we made with Eli's catch. We had a 4th and 4 with Blake's scramble, and then we had a 4th and 1, and we made all those conversions. So that's the difference, is staying on the field and making those plays when they need to be made. So it hangs on the edge of a knife. You got to execute. You got to execute every single play, and I got to do a good job putting them in good situations, um and the three series in the first half that it just wasn't we as an offense didn't do a good job. I didn't do a good job as a coach, and I think we cleaned it up the second half and got back in rhythm, and you could tell that Temple got a little tired there because when you drive the ball, I think the first half we had 17 plays for 110 yards. The second half we had 37 plays for around 270 yards. And when you convert, you get to stay on the field and you get to drive, and then the defense starts to crack and get a little tired, and it's just tough to be out there that much. That's what happened to our defense. You know, they were out on the field the whole first half. It's just hard. So we've got to stay out there and keep the other team's defense out there and take them into deep water is kind of what we talked about.
And how much leadership do you already see from Blake during this bye week to make sure that this offense can get off to the fast start it's accustomed to in the first half of the season now going into the next couple games?
Yeah, honestly, I don't know. I'll tell you after today's practice. We gave him yesterday off. I hadn't laid eyes on Blake since I was hugging him after the game Saturday, I don't think. Since we got off the bus. We kind of wanted the guys to decompress. We just gave him the whole day off yesterday. Um, but Blake is awesome. He will show up today and he'll, and Blake is relatively healthy, right? He's got some bumps and bruises, but he's healthier right now than he was this time a year ago. So I think he's feeling good. He's feeling comfortable. And he's a heck of a leader. He really is. And he'll have a good week.
Thank you.
Yep.
I thought Blake might have been down on that fumble. I'm not trying to get you in trouble. You don't have to comment, but watching the TV copy showed that he was down on that fumble that he lost.
The one that the ball went backwards on?
Yeah, when the ball went
Okay.
backwards. Yeah.
Yeah, he was just fighting for yardage and they pulled it out, but you may be right there, Scott. I mean, that was big. That's
Yes.
a big, that's a 6 yard difference.
Yes.
But when you're out there competing and fighting for yardage, it's happened to him against Air Force, fighting for yardage, and we just gotta keep both arms around the ball right there.
Wags.
The Jackson Gutierrez fullback pass didn't work out. I do understand that Eli may have been held downfield, but do you regret that one or no?
Well, now I do. It's such a, they had not blitzed a lot, and to be honest, that play is fairly sound, but they brought two off the front side, and which defensively opens you up to some other things, but in that situation, they were Johnny on the spot, and so, it's not that play is it's not necessarily a throw. It can be. I'm giving you more information than I usually do, ain't I, Wags? But it was one of those that was almost kind of RPO-ish, but they were able to get upfield on us and create a quick edge, and it just was like I said, if I knew they were going to do that, I would have, I wouldn't have called it, but they got me on that one. That's a chess move by their DC that got me in, and so I probably need to do something where Blake can check out of that if he sees that, but it was a guy off the edge, and Jackson just didn't have a chance to get himself together right there and execute the whole way through. And maybe Eli was getting held out. Honestly, I thought there were a couple more PIs they could have thrown in the game, but where Eli,
There was one on the last possession.
They finally called it.
Well, no, but right before that, they didn't.
It was previous possession. It was
Yeah, there was one where Blake scrambled to his right, and he had turned up, and he's behind, and it was, I don't know what I'm allowed to say, but my goodness, but that it happens. You get called. Sometimes you get them, sometimes you don't, but it was good to get the one on the last series.
So when the Temple media were asking Coach Casey Keeler about why didn't he take a knee and burn some timeouts, he said, it's not like they have a sophisticated passing game where we felt they could just pick us apart down the field. Their passing game is kind of elementary. What do you think of that?
Sure. Sure. I mean, I try to keep it as elementary as I can. So, but I mean, I understand, the thinking. He was kind of in a weird situation. We still had 2 timeouts, and he could take knees and risk not scoring a touchdown, having to kick a field goal, and us getting the ball back with, say, 40 seconds and only needing a field goal to tie. Or if they score, now they make us drive the whole field. And that's not, we're not an air raid offense, obviously. Um, so sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But I understand his dilemma, and I don't think everybody's been giving him a hard time. And I understand where he's coming from. Sometimes getting the points and trying to do it in such a way that you don't make mistakes, is the way to go. And had we only had one timeout, maybe you take one knee and get the clock down as much as you can, then try to score the next play. But it's just end of game situations are crazy, and it ended up, where we ended up making one more play. But I do try to keep things as elementary as I can.
I thought that was a little dismissive. Sorry. The last one for me, I mean, so we were talking about Cody Howard. Is it nice to reward a guy like that who blocks his butt off with a touchdown throw?
Absolutely, but it's not just a reward. I mean, he's capable of doing that. You're trying to get playmakers the ball, that play was a play action off. I don't know if you remember the one Blake scored on against Air Force where he ran right up the middle of the defense for about, I don't know how far it was, 50, 55 yards. But that was the exact same look, same action, play action off of it. And then Cody just ran a little crack and go, and their safety's got both alleys right there. So he was pretty open. He was I was just praying he was going to catch it. You never know when somebody's that wide open, you just hold your breath. It was an elementary play.
Early in the week, he also said Blake couldn't. It wasn't a guy that could take it 80 yards either. So,
thank God he only had to go 50.
Yep.
That's what Blake said that as he left the interview room. He said, Casey Keeler said, I'm not the type of guy to go 80, but I'll go 51.
Scott Wyckoff.
Coach, you already mentioned Nathan, place kicking. In addition to that, how important is it that you have Jacob able to flip the field for you? How much does that help you in your play calling and the confidence of the offense?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I hate to punt. So it probably doesn't affect how I call anything, but that kid is killing the football punting it. There's no question. And obviously that's hidden yardage and flipping the field, and he's really good. I mean, it's been, I feel like we've that part of the punting has been outstanding. Obviously our field goal kickers is making some kicks, and I think our kickoff guy's been doing a pretty good job. So those are things that the hidden yardage and the field position that are critical for complementary football.
Injuries aside, midway through the season, how do you like the development of your depth on offense?
Yeah, I think it's good. I mean, we play our starters, up front in our snipe position, in our B-back pretty good bit. We rotate the X receivers a little bit more, but you can see, Charlie gets in there some behind Eli, and Mike Barrow gets in some behind Chap, and those things that they've done a solid job, and Jake at tight end, Jake's played a lot for us, and then you've seen Jackson in there be back some, and you probably see a little bit more of Vic here pretty soon. Vic is his body's getting back, Vic Listorti. So I think we've got guys who can go in and do the job. Hard sometimes to take number 22 out, number 24 out, number 46 out, number 83 out. But those other kids are very capable. And I think every time they get in the game, it just helps their level of confidence and with their experience, So it's that part. I do feel like we're a little deeper at the skill positions, than we were this time a year ago.
And how do you like the development as you look down the road for your kind of prototype tight ends that you guys have been bringing in the last couple of years?
Yeah, I mean, we got some good young ones. Theo Elwell is a long kid who has some potential and has played a little bit for us. And then we've got we've got Jordan Collins, okay, and then Merrick Barlow are the two plebes we brought in. And I'm really excited about those two guys, because they are a little bit longer than what we've had, but they bring a threat in the passing game. And I think you'll end up seeing Jordan Collins is a lot like Cody. As he gets bigger and stronger, he is an extremely physical and twitchy guy that has some explosion to him and can block and it can also run. So I think I'm that's going to be a bright future there. They just got to develop. They need a spring practice with us. But I'm excited about that room and the future there. And if we get guys that are like Cody, that's going to be, that's what we're looking for.
Thanks.
Mhm.
A note on Carlson, he averaged 56.2 yards per punt against Temple. That would have been a school record, but a minimum for punts in a game to get a record's 5, and he had 4.
Well, we don't ever want him
To qualify for that
to
record, I
qualify
agree
for
with
that.
you. Yes, I agree. Wyatt Kopelman.
Hey, Coach, now that we're at a second bye week here for this regular season, what kind of progress have you seen in Braxton's understanding the offense compared to where he was last season?
Yeah, I think Braxton's is another year in the system. He understands he's getting good quality reps in practice. So I got the utmost confidence in Braxton to come in and play for us. And I'm excited about his future. So uh, you hate you want to get him in there, somehow. So we'll keep kind of looking at some things with that, but I think he has a lot of talent, good size. He has a good understanding of what we're doing, and his time is coming. And it's good to know that guy who has won a game for you, right, and played some is there if you need him. And so excited about the things he brings to the table.
What do you think people who don't pay much attention to Navy football or even the service academies will instantly see as a telltale sign he can be the quarterback whose time's been coming, as you mentioned, when it is that time?
Say that again now. I'm sorry.
No, I was just asking, what are some of the characteristics that you think will jump out to people who maybe won't pay attention a lot to Navy football right now, but then we'll see it with Braxton when he's on the field?
Yeah, Braxton's really fast. Okay. Braxton has a really strong arm. In fact, he's one of those guys that probably you gotta say, hey, Braxton, just smooth it out there. Okay, you're gonna hurt somebody. And you're gonna impale somebody there. His arm is really he has a lot of arm talent. Um, and I think he's improved as a runner, not because he's always been fast, but I think he's improved as just being a runner who attacks while he's got the ball in his hands instead of being like a quarterback, just kind of, sort of running, right? He's improved in that area. Um, so I I'm excited about his future. I think he'll be the next guy, and hopefully, we'll keep moving forward, but you start looking at different quarterbacks trying to compare and contrast. Obviously, Blake is a special player in just so many ways. But Braxton will be Braxton, and so he won't be Blake Horvath. He'll be Braxton Woodson when he goes and plays, and I think everybody will be happy with what they see there. So we'll adapt, and we'll always adapt to our quarterback and what they do well, and put him in good situations. Um, but right now, I feel like he can. You don't have to change up your play calls a lot when he's in there. He can do the same things and bring some things to the table. So I think everybody be pleased with him when it becomes his time.
And lastly, Coach Newberry talked yesterday about how this team's full potential is still a little bit far from being untapped. How do you define what very good looks like within your system now that you've been here for more than a season?
Well, I just want us to be the best we're capable of being and try to, we're not going to be perfect, but we want to try to get as close as we can to whatever our max potential is. Okay. And, every team is different, and it, I just want to see us go play to our potential. That's all I can say when it comes to that. Let's play good, smart, disciplined football, and let's be the best we can be. Let's don't beat ourselves. Let's make the layups that are out there. Let's everybody take the right first step. Let's get our hat in the right place, and play to our strengths, which obviously is, our quarterback is a special player. We got some skill guys who we want to get the ball to, and just keep moving forward. And we're going to be challenged, man. It's going to be, and I'm excited about that. I'm excited about seeing how we respond to as things ramp up, and you play some, not that we haven't played some good teams, but it's getting ready to get tougher. And that's going to happen next Saturday. And so can we just improve, be us, okay, and just what the best version of the Navy 25 offense. That's all we can ask for.
Thank you.
Anyone have anything else for Coach Cronic?
Two quick ones for me, Drew. How do you eliminate these false start penalties? It seems like you're averaging 2 a game.
Yeah, it was worse the previous couple of weeks. So we got it down to 2. I'd like to get it to 0. And that's that. You're going to have it happen here or there. It's just, if you watch any team in the country, it's going to happen here or there. But we've got to be more, we've got to hear Blake's voice. We've got to, sometimes you're so keyed up to come off the ball. You just, so we've got to settle down sometimes. And even like, Cam Nichols, Cam snapped the ball one time without us saying hut. And that wasn't a penalty, and Brake just ran around the edge for 5 yards, so it worked out. But we the more Cam plays, the more he's going to eliminate those things, right? Cam had really turned the corner, and then he misses whatever it was, with the knee injury. It was the 4th day of practice in August camp, and then so what is that, 6 weeks that that you don't practice, and so he's working his way back in there, and we got to get Jalen Acevedo to to hang in there a little bit, and Jake, those were the 2 guys this past week. But it's everything. We got to make sure the quarterback is managing that, and there's not weird things going on in the cadence. And so all I know to do is go out and continue to practice it, and we'll jump around as coaches and make some weird noises and do some different things and just try to to get them to desensitize from some of that stuff. But they certainly hurt you, and we need to eliminate all that.
Lastly, you mentioned Listorti. Do you think he'll make his collegiate debut against Florida Atlantic? Are we going to actually see him on the field?
Well, I think he'll finally be back to 100%. I think he probably could have played some the last game, but he hadn't had a lot of reps, and so you don't always feel comfortable as a coach just throwing a kid out there, and you want to make sure the kid is comfortable. And so I think 2 more weeks of practice, I think that's a strong possibility.
All right. Thanks a lot, Coach. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Y'all have a good day.
You too.